All right, guys, we are back with a brand new Screen Team right here on KWOC. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to our movie reviews this evening. I'm happy to be joined by the Whitworths. We got Jenna and we got Matt. How are we doing today, guys?
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing lovely. I'm doing awesome.
That was
Thank
my
you for
answer.
asking.
I was going to say lovely.
Well, I beat you to the punch, man. That's why I'm over here, and that's why you're over there.
You're so smart to be rich. All right.
Guys, we've got some really good movie reviews for the folks this evening. We're going to be doing Beauty and the Beast, the latest live action from Disney here in a few minutes. Also, the latest from, what's his name? Richard
Linklater. Yes, Richard Linklater.
Who did like Dazed and Confused, and he also did Boyhood. We'll be doing his latest called Everybody Wants Some. But first off, we're doing a movie that won Best Picture, a movie that is a classic to a lot of people. It's called An American in Paris with Gene Kelly, right, guys?
Yes.
That's correct.
Which one of you crazy cats picked this film?
I did.
Jenna, why'd you want to pick this one for us?
Well, it's Gene Kelly. I mean, he's one of the all-time greatest, and it's one of my favorite movies. And Matt and I actually went and saw it for my birthday at the Fox, and just it's
the
wonderful
Broadway
overall.
Production,
Yeah, the Broadway
Off-Broadway.
production.
Yeah. That'd be kind of crazy if Gene Kelly was still doing that.
Oh my gosh, that would be the best thing ever.
That's kind of hard. He died a few years ago.
So what's going on? What's Gene Kelly doing? He's the American in Paris, right?
Yeah,
That
he's
is
the main
correct.
guy.
So what is he doing in Paris? What's his deal?
Oh, you're letting me answer
Yep.
that? She wants me to do the plot.
Sure.
So I guess after the war, he settles in Paris and, kind of takes up art as living as a starving artist, of course, and falls in love with a young, beautiful girl who he, tries to court throughout the movie, and all the while falling into aristocratic traps of people wanting him to be a yes man because of his artwork and to kind of go down the path of life that they want him to. Of course, the girl that he's in love with is in love with another man,
right?
And they're set to be wed, and he has a friend that is also a struggling, starving artist, a young pianist. And they just get all the backdrop of a gay parade during the 1920s or so. And the film score is by Gershwin, and it's just an incredible-looking film. The sound is, as you would imagine, is fantastic. Yeah. Everything has that Rhapsody in Blue kind of quality, and definitely one of the best musicals that I've seen. And just, the dance scenes are everything you'd expect from a Gene Kelly movie. He was always my favorite when it came to musicals. Nothing against Fred Astaire, but he just had kind of a machismo to what he did that you don't see very often, and definitely a lot of class to his dance routines. His tap dancing scene during what's the name of the song? I've Got Rhythm. Yeah,
yes.
definitely the highlight of the show, and it's at the beginning of the movie, so it's not that the rest of the movie isn't great, but it starts on such a high note.
He just makes everything seem so easy.
Effortless.
I wish I could dance like that.
Yeah, there was a scene with Gene Kelly, and I'm going to get her name wrong. Was it Leslie Caron? Leslie Caron? She's French, so I'm definitely not pronouncing it right. But
Caron.
It seems like such a simple dance, but it's probably more difficult. I think it was when they went on their first dates, the two characters, and they're just kind of doing this back and forth, kind of swaying, dancing kind of routine, and you look at it and you're like, oh, that's easy, I could do that. But there's a lot of difficulty in what they're doing, and you can just see the chemistry that's coming off of these two characters.
Yeah. Yeah, the subtlety in what they're doing, it's fantastic. It kind of underlies the play back and forth on a first date. Yeah. Kind of testing the boundaries.
So, Jenna, is this a movie that you like to watch over and over again, kind of feel to it?
Yes, it is long. So that's the only thing. Like, if I know I have a lot of time that I can just sit down and watch it, then yes, I will watch it hands down pretty much over any other movie if I can. But because I know it is so long, we usually end up watching other movies, sadly.
What do you enjoy more in the film? Do you enjoy the singing or the dancing more?
All of it, because that was a time period where all the actors had to be able to sing, had to dance, had to be able to act. They couldn't just be one. And so that's why I just love those movies, because you really had to be good at your craft in order to be in the movies. Yeah.
Matt, do you agree with Jenna? Is this a film that you're like, yeah, I can get into some American in Paris?
I always enjoy watching it, but it's not one of my favorites, actually. I'm Singing in the Rain's my favorite musical.
Yeah.
And this came out about the same time period. This was 1951, and Singing in the Rain was 52, I believe. And I always felt like, in the eyes of history, that's the one that was regarded better and more favorably, but it wasn't the one that was that won Best Picture or any of the other accolades. So it's kind of It's a Wonderful Life kind of story where it gains acclaim over the years, you know, and people start to realize how great it is. And I think American in Paris has almost become not forgotten, but underrated in a lot of senses, because the set design is everything from a visual standpoint, from an artistic standpoint. This movie is a masterpiece. I think the story, even though it's good, it's not to the level that the rest of the film production is and the casting. Yeah,
Matt, I agree with you. I'm definitely a Singing in the Rain. That's one of my favorite musicals as well. And
you have good taste. So.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I was expecting that kind of, soul to this kind of movie, and I wasn't getting it at first. You know, there was a lot of the recognizable songs that you guys had mentioned before. But then at the very end, when they do that dream sequence, and there's this big 15-20 minute production, I was like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. So I think for me, American in Paris is something that I'm going to have to probably watch a couple of times down the road to kind of appreciate the greatness in the film. But for me, Singing in the Rain is still...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that.
Jenna, let me ask you something. Do you have to love musicals to enjoy this film?
Sort of. Yeah. I'd have to say probably.
Because of the length, if anything. I think it's visually stunning, and the music is fantastic. The dance sequences, even if you're not a big fan of dancing, beyond breakdancing and maybe some old ballroom stuff, I'm not a big fan of dancing, but it's jaw-dropping. And again, it's Gene Kelly. He was a very athletic dancer,
Yeah.
I think probably some people would say it's too slow, and that's what would draw people away from it. But I personally think it's the best.
You go, girl. You tell everybody. Thank you. Man. The movie's called An American in Paris, starring Gene Kelly. Coming up after the break, we're going to review the movie Everybody Wants Some. It's next on KWOC.